Noah Carter thought he was walking into a simple coffee date. What he found instead was a woman in a wheelchair, a setup he never asked for, and a choice that would expose every assumption he didn't know he carried. When Elena Moore looked up at him with eyes that dared him to pity her, he had two options: run like most men would, or sit down and prove he wasn't most men. One decision. One moment. Everything about his carefully controlled life as a single father was about to unravel, not because of tragedy, but because of something far more dangerous: real connection. If you're hooked already, stay with me until the end of this story. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. The alarm went off at 5:47 a.m., same as it did every weekday, and Noah Carter's hand shot out from under the blanket to silence it before the second beep could sound. Muscle memory. He didn't need to think about it anymore. The routine had been carved into his bones over 3 years of single fatherhood. Wake before Lily, shower in under 6 minutes, coffee brewing by 6:02, her lunch packed by 6:15. He moved through his small house like a man navigating a familiar obstacle course in the dark. The floorboard that creaked outside Lily's room, step over it. The cabinet door that stuck unless you lifted while pulling, he knew the angle by heart. The coffee maker that gurgled too loud if you didn't tamp the grounds just right. He'd mastered that months ago. By 6:30, he was standing in Lily's doorway, watching her sleep with her stuffed rabbit tucked under one arm and her dark hair splayed across the pillow like spilled ink. She was 7 now, growing so fast it sometimes hurt to look at her. She had her mother's eyes, warm brown, quick to laugh. But everything else was Noah. The stubborn chin. The way she chewed her bottom lip when concentrating. The habit of going quiet when feelings ran too deep for words. "Lil," he said softly, crouching beside her bed. "Time to wake up, sweetheart." She stirred, mumbled something unintelligible, then buried her face deeper into the pillow. "Come on, kiddo, school day. I made your favorite cinnamon toast." One eye cracked open. "With the swirly butter?" "With the swirly butter." "Okay." She sat up, rabbit still in hand, hair sticking up in 3 different directions. "Can Maya come over after school?" Noah stood, knees popping. He was 34 but felt older some mornings. "It's Wednesday. We've got your art class, remember?" "Oh yeah." Lily swung her legs over the side of the bed, feet dangling. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "Tommy's mom said his dad is taking him camping this weekend. Can we go camping?" Noah paused in the doorway, the familiar weight settling in his chest. The weight of being both parents, of every question having to run through him first, of never being able to say ask your mother because there was no mother to ask. Not anymore. Not since Sarah had decided 3 years ago that motherhood wasn't what she wanted, that the life they'd built together felt like a cage, that she needed to find herself somewhere far away from the small town where they'd grown up. The divorce papers had arrived on a Tuesday. She'd been gone by Thursday. "We'll see," Noah said, which was dad code for probably not, but I don't want to disappoint you right now. "Get dressed. Breakfast in 10 minutes. The morning unfolded like every other. Lily ate her cinnamon toast while Noah reviewed the day's work schedule on his phone. He was a carpenter running his own small operation, mostly residential work, kitchen renovations, deck repairs, the occasional custom furniture piece. It was honest work, good work, the kind that let him set his own hours and be home when Lily got off the school bus at 3:15. "Dad, you're doing the face again," Lily said through a mouthful of toast. "What face?" "The thinking too hard face. Your forehead gets all wrinkly." Noah reached across the table and gently tugged one of her wild curls. "Eat your breakfast, smart mouth." She grinned, and for a moment everything felt exactly right. Simple, manageable, under control. That feeling lasted until 9:47 a.m. when Marcus Webb cornered him at the lumberyard. Marcus was one of those guys who talked too much and listened too little, the kind of person who thought enthusiasm could substitute for actual friendship. He worked in residential development, wore shirts too tight for his build, and had been trying to get Noah to get back out there for the better part of a year. "Carter!" Marcus appeared beside the 2x4s, grinning like he'd just won something. "My man, I need to talk to you." Noah loaded another board onto his cart. "I'm on a schedule, Marcus. This'll take 2 seconds. You free Friday night?" "Nope." "You didn't even check." "Don't need to. Friday's Lily's Pizza and movie night. Never miss it. Marcus waved his hand like he was swatting away an irrelevant detail. Okay, fine. Saturday then. Saturday afternoon. Just coffee. 1 hour. Noah straightened, board in hand, and gave Marcus the look he usually reserved for pushy salesmen. What are you talking about? I'm setting you up. No. Hear me out. Marcus, no. I don't do blind dates. I don't do setups. I barely do social interaction before noon. This is different. Marcus leaned against the lumber rack, undeterred. She's great. Really great. My wife knows her from some volunteer thing, and trust me, you two would actually get along. She's smart, she's funny, she's not looking for anything serious, just like you. I'm not looking for anything at all. Exactly. Perfect match. Marcus clapped him on the shoulder hard enough to sting. Come on, man. When's the last time you did something for yourself? Something that wasn't work or Lily or fixing your truck? Noah opened his mouth to respond, then closed it. Because the honest answer was, I don't remember, and that felt like admitting defeat. It's 1 coffee, Marcus pressed. 60 minutes. If it's terrible, you leave. If it's good, maybe you have a second cup. Either way, you get out of your own head for an hour. When's the last time that happened? Noah looked at him, really looked at him. Marcus was annoying, sure, but he wasn't malicious. And beneath the pushiness was something that almost looked like concern. The kind of concern that came from watching someone live on autopilot for too long. 1 hour, Noah said finally. Marcus's face lit up. Yes, okay, Saturday, 2 o'clock. That cafe on Maple, you know the one with the good scones? I don't eat scones. Well, maybe she does. That's the whole point. Discovery. Marcus was already backing away, pointing finger guns like some kind of deranged motivational speaker. You won't regret this. Noah had regretted it immediately, but the words were already out there, floating in the universe, binding him to a promise he didn't want to keep. The rest of the week passed in its usual rhythm. Work, Lily, dinner, homework, bedtime stories. Repeat. Noah didn't think much about Saturday until Friday night, when Lily asked him what he was doing the next day. Just meeting someone for coffee, he said, stacking dishes in the sink. Like a work person? Sort of. A friend of Marcus's. Lily was quiet for a moment, then, Is it a lady? Noah turned, surprised. What makes you ask that? She shrugged, swinging her legs from where she sat at the kitchen table. You have your nervous voice. You only use that voice when you're talking about lady stuff or when I ask about mom. God, she was perceptive. Too perceptive. It's just coffee, Lil. Nothing fancy. Do you like her? I haven't met her yet. But do you think you'll like her? Noah dried his hands on a towel and came to sit across from her. I don't know, maybe. Does it bother you, me meeting someone? Lily considered this with the seriousness of a judge deliberating a verdict. Finally, she said, I think it's okay. As long as she's nice, and as long as you still do movie night with me. Always, Noah said. That's non-negotiable. Okay. Lily hopped down from her chair. Can I stay at Maya's tomorrow while you do your coffee thing? Already arranged with her mom. You're good at planning, Dad. I try, kiddo. Saturday arrived with clear skies and unseasonably warm weather for late autumn. Noah dropped Lily at Maya's house at 1:15, endured 10 minutes of Maya's mother telling him he looked nice and should definitely put himself out there more, then drove to Maple Street with his stomach doing something uncomfortable. He wasn't nervous. He didn't get nervous about things like this, but there was a tightness in his chest that felt uncomfortably close to anxiety, and he realized as he parked his truck that he hadn't been on anything resembling a date since before Sarah left. 3 years. 3 years of politely declining every setup, every introduction, every well-meaning attempt to get him back in the game. The cafe was exactly the kind of place Marcus would choose: exposed brick, chalkboard menus, the smell of overpriced coffee, and fresh pastries. Noah scanned the room quickly, looking for what? He realized he had no idea what this woman looked like. Marcus hadn't even told him her name. Then he saw her. She was sitting near the window, sunlight catching the copper tones in her dark hair. She wore a simple blue sweater and was reading something on her phone, one hand wrapped around a coffee cup. Pretty, Noah thought distantly. Marcus hadn't oversold that part. But it was what sat beside her that made Noah's feet stop moving. A wheelchair. Folded, resting against the wall beside her table. Empty, but unmistakably present. Noah's mind went blank, then flooded with questions all at once. This was Marcus's setup? This was the woman he'd insisted was perfect for Noah? Had Marcus mentioned this? Had he deliberately left this out? And why? Why would he set up someone in a wheelchair with a guy who hadn't agreed to anything except coffee? Noah felt something ugly twist in his gut. Not disgust. Not pity. Something closer to panic. Because this changed things, didn't it? This wasn't just coffee. This was loaded with implications, with expectations, with the kind of weight that transformed a casual meetup into something significant before a single word was exchanged. He could leave, turn around, walk out, text Marcus later that something came up. She hadn't seen him yet. She didn't even know what he looked like. But even as the thought formed, Noah felt ashamed of it. He thought about Lily, about the way people sometimes looked at him when they learned he was a single father, like he deserved a medal just for showing up. Like basic parenting was heroic when a man did it. He'd always hated that. Hated being measured against low expectations. Hated the assumption that he needed special recognition for doing what any parent should do. And here he was, standing in a cafe, doing exactly that to someone else. Making assumptions. Letting one visible fact override everything else about a person he hadn't even met yet. Noah took a breath, straightened his shoulders, walked forward. "Elena?" he asked when he reached her table. She looked up, and he saw her register him, saw the quick assessment people always made when meeting someone for the first time. Her eyes were sharp, intelligent, wary. "That's me," she said. Her voice was steady, revealing nothing. "You must be Noah." "I am." He gestured to the chair across from her. "Mind if I sit?" That's generally how these things work. There was something in her tone, not quite hostility, but definitely challenge. Like she was waiting for something, testing. Noah sat, set his keys on the table, looked at her directly. "Marcus didn't tell me your name until yesterday," he said, "or anything else about you. Just that you were smart and funny and not looking for anything serious. He told me you were a single dad who builds houses and probably needed to get out more." Elena tilted her head slightly. "He also somehow forgot to mention that I use a wheelchair. Funny how that detail slipped his mind with both of us." There it was, out in the open. No dancing around it. "Yeah," Noah said. "I noticed." "And?" She set down her coffee cup, gave him her full attention. "Are you going to pretend you didn't? Or are we going to sit here while you figure out if you're okay with it?" The directness should have thrown him. Instead, it settled something in his chest. "I'm not pretending anything," Noah said. "I saw the chair. It surprised me. But I'm still sitting here." "Why?" "Because I drove 20 minutes to meet someone for coffee, and I'm not the kind of person who walks out before the conversation starts." Elena studied him for a long moment. Whatever she was looking for, she must have found at least part of it, because her shoulders relaxed incrementally. "Okay," she said. "Fair enough." "Also," Noah added, "I have a 7-year-old daughter who would call me out for being rude if I bailed on someone without a good reason. I'm trying to set a decent example." That got something that might have been the beginning of a smile. Using your kid as your moral compass, that's either really sweet or kind of sad. Both, probably. This time she definitely smiled. Small, but real. "So," Noah said, settling back in his chair, "tell me something Marcus didn't. Something that actually matters." Elena considered this. "I'm an illustrator. Freelance, mostly children's books. I work from home, set my own hours, and spend an embarrassing amount of time talking to my cat." "Cat's name?" "Austin, after Jane." "Solid choice. My daughter's obsessed with rabbits. Her stuffed one is named Carrot, which she insists is the most creative name ever invented. It's pretty good for a 7-year-old. She's extremely proud of it." Noah paused. "What kind of books do you illustrate?" "Lately, a lot of stories about kids who feel different, kids who don't fit in. The quiet ones, the weird ones, the ones who need to see themselves as heroes." Elena's fingers traced the rim of her cup. "It's satisfying work. Feels like it matters. It does matter, Noah said. My daughter reads constantly. Those books, they shape how she sees the world, how she sees herself. What does she read? Everything. Right now she's obsessed with this series about a girl who solves mysteries with her dog. Before that it was fantasy stuff, dragons, magic, kids saving kingdoms. She sounds great. She is. Noah felt the familiar warmth that always came when talking about Lily. She's better than I deserve most days. Elena's expression shifted, something knowing in her eyes. You're one of those dads. What kind? The kind who thinks being a present parent is somehow extraordinary. She said it without judgment, just observation. I'm guessing you hear a lot of, wow, single dad, that must be so hard from people. Constantly. And you hate it. Every time. Because it's just life, Elena said. Just showing up for someone who depends on you. Not heroic, not special. Just what you do. Exactly. They looked at each other across the table, and Noah felt something click into place. Recognition. Not of shared experience exactly, but of shared understanding. Of what it meant to be constantly measured against other people's assumptions. Can I ask you something? Elena said. Sure. When you walked in and saw the wheelchair, what was your first thought? Noah appreciated that she asked directly. No hedging, no making it easier for him. Honest answer? I thought about leaving. He watched her face, expecting hurt or anger. Instead, she nodded. At least you're being straight with me. Most people lie about that part. What made you think I'd lie? Because most people do. They pretend they didn't notice, or they overcompensate with fake enthusiasm, or they turn into these weird inspiration-seeking creatures who think my existence is a lesson in courage. Elena's voice was matter-of-fact, but there was an edge beneath it. It's exhausting. I can imagine. Can you? It wasn't quite a challenge, but close. Noah thought about it, really thought about it. No, he said finally. I can imagine parts of it, but I can't actually know what that's like. Same way you can't actually know what it's like to be a single parent. You can imagine, but until you're living it, you don't really get it. Elena's eyebrows rose slightly. Most people would have just said yes and tried to convince me they understood. I'm not most people. No, she said slowly. I'm starting to see that. The conversation shifted then, becoming easier. They talked about work. Noah described a kitchen renovation that had turned into a complete disaster when they discovered black mold behind the cabinets. Elena shared a story about an author who'd requested 17 rounds of revisions on a picture of a duck. They talked about their neighborhoods, favorite coffee shops, the weird weather patterns lately. An hour passed, then another. Noah realized at some point that he'd forgotten about the wheelchair entirely, not because he was trying to ignore it, but because Elena herself had filled the space so completely that the hardware became irrelevant. She was sharp-witted, occasionally sarcastic, quick to laugh when something genuinely amused her. She asked good questions, listened to the answers, didn't perform or posture. So, Elena said eventually, glancing at her phone, it's been 2 hours. Has it? You sound surprised. I am, actually. Good surprised. She studied him again with that assessing look. Marcus said you weren't looking for anything serious. I'm not. My life it's full. Lily takes up most of my bandwidth, and the rest goes to keeping the business running. I don't have space for complicated. Good, Elena said, because neither do I. I like my life, my work, my space, my independence. I'm not looking for someone to fix things or make me feel complete or whatever romantic nonsense people think disabled women need. The bluntness should have been off-putting. Instead, Noah found it refreshing. What are you looking for, Sip? He asked. Elena considered this. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe just not being alone all the time, someone to talk to who doesn't treat me like I'm made of glass or like I'm supposed to be inspiring just for existing. I can do that, Noah said. Not treating you like you're made of glass, I mean. Can you? I'm raising a 7-year-old. I'm immune to most forms of fragility at this point. That earned a real laugh. Fair point. They stood to leave, Elena reaching for her wheelchair with the practiced efficiency of someone who'd done it 10,000 times. Noah didn't rush to help, didn't hover, didn't make a show of not making a big deal. He just gathered his keys and waited while she transferred from the chair to the wheelchair with quick, economical movements. Outside, the afternoon had turned golden, autumn sun slanting through the trees that lined Maple Street. "This was better than I expected," Elena said. "Same." "Would you want to do it again? Coffee, I mean. Nothing formal, just talking." Noah thought about his schedule, about Lily, about the careful balance he'd built over 3 years of single parenthood, about all the reasons he'd told Marcus no in the first place. Then he thought about the last 2 hours, about how easy it had been, how normal. "Yeah," he said. "I'd like that." "Good." Elena pulled out her phone. "Give me your number, I'll text you." They exchanged information, and Noah realized as he was typing his contact details that he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Interested. Not obligated. Not polite. Actually interested in seeing where this might go. "One thing," Elena said as he was about to walk to his truck. "What's that?" "If you're doing this because you feel sorry for me, or because you think it would be wrong to say no, or because you want to prove something about what a good person you are, don't. I've had enough of that to last a lifetime." Noah met her eyes. "I'm doing this because I had a good time. Because you made me laugh. Because it's been a really long time since I've had a conversation with another adult that didn't involve construction delays or elementary school drama." "Okay then. Okay." She wheeled backward slightly, gave him something that might have been a salute, and headed down the sidewalk. Noah watched her go, noting the way she moved, confident, unbothered by the people who stared, completely at home in her body and her space. He got in his truck and sat there for a moment, hands on the steering wheel, trying to process what had just happened. His phone buzzed, a text from Marcus. "How'd it go?" Noah typed back, "You're an asshole for not warning me." 3 dots appeared immediately. "But did you like her?" Noah stared at the screen. Then, reluctantly, "Yeah, I did." The response came in seconds. "Told you so." Noah tossed his phone onto the passenger seat and started the engine. He had to pick up Lily in 20 minutes, had to hear about her afternoon with Maya, had to figure out what to make for dinner and whether they had clean towels for her bath. Normal life. Regular routine. But driving home through the tree-lined streets with the windows down and the radio playing something soft and forgettable, Noah felt the smallest shift, like a door he'd kept locked for 3 years had opened just a crack. Not enough to change everything, not enough to disrupt the careful world he'd built around him and Lily. Just enough to let some light in. Elena texted him 3 days later. Not immediately, not playing games with timing, just 3 days of silence, and then, "Coffee was good. Want to try a walk instead? There's a park near me with good paths." Noah read the message during his lunch break, sitting in his truck outside a job site with a sandwich he'd forgotten to eat. "Sure," he typed back. "When? Saturday afternoon? 2 p.m.? Noah checked his calendar. Lily had a birthday party that afternoon, already arranged. "Works for me. Send me the address." The park turned out to be one of those newer developments, paved paths, careful landscaping, benches placed at regular intervals. Accessible. Noah realized as he pulled into the parking lot that Elena had chosen it deliberately, and he appreciated that she'd made it easy without making it obvious. She was waiting near the entrance, wearing jeans and a gray jacket, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She raised a hand when she saw him, and Noah walked over feeling inexplicably nervous. "Hey," he said. "Hey, yourself. Ready?" They fell into step, Noah walking, Elena wheeling beside him. The path curved through a grove of maple trees, leaves turning gold and red overhead. "So," Elena said after a few minutes, "tell me something real. Define real. Something you don't usually tell people, something past the surface stuff." Noah glanced at her. "That's a big ask for a second date. Is this a date?" "Isn't it?" Elena smiled. "Maybe, but I asked first." Noah considered this, thought about all the things he kept carefully compartmentalized. Finally he said, "I'm tired. Most of the time. Not physically, just tired of always being on. Of every decision running through me. Of not having anyone to share the load with." Lily's mom? Gone. 3 years now. Decided motherhood wasn't for her and left. Does she see Lily? Birthday cards, sometimes, inconsistently. Elena was quiet for a moment, then, "That's hard." "It is, but we manage." "I'm sure you do. That's not what I meant." She stopped rolling, turned slightly to look at him. "I meant it's hard to be the only one. The only person a kid can depend on. The only one making all the calls. That's a lot of weight." Noah felt something loosen in his chest, because she was right. It was weight, and most people either didn't see it or tried to turn it into something inspiring, like struggle automatically meant strength. "Your turn," he said. "Something real." Elena started moving again, wheels crunching over fallen leaves. "I hate when people assume my life is smaller than theirs. Like because I use a chair, I must need constant help or can't do normal things, or am somehow missing out on real experiences." "What happened?" Noah asked. "If you don't mind me asking." "Car accident. I was 19. Drunk driver T-boned us at an intersection. My best friend walked away with bruises. I didn't." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'm not." She said it firmly, without bitterness. "It sucked. It changed everything. But I've had 15 years to make peace with it. I'm not broken. I'm not tragic. I'm just living a different version of the life I thought I'd have." They walked in silence for a while, the path taking them past a small pond where ducks paddled in lazy circles. "Can I ask you something?" Noah said. "Sure." "Why did you agree to meet me? Marcus aside, what made you say yes to a blind date?" Elena laughed. "Honestly, curiosity, and because my best friend kept telling me I was turning into a hermit. She said I needed to at least try to meet people." "Are you? A hermit?" "Little bit. I work from home, live alone, order groceries online. It's easy to let days pass without actually talking to anyone in person." She paused. "It's comfortable. Safe. But maybe too safe." "I get that. Different reasons, but I get it." They completed the loop and ended up back at the parking lot. Noah realized he wasn't ready for the afternoon to end. "You hungry?" he asked. "Always." "There's a diner about 10 minutes from here. Nothing fancy, but the coffee's good and they have a ramp entrance." Elena raised an eyebrow. "You checked?" "I looked it up before I came." Something shifted in her expression, surprise maybe, or appreciation. "Okay then, lead the way." The diner was exactly what Noah had described. Vinyl booths, laminate tables, a menu that hadn't changed since 1987. They ordered coffee and split an order of fries, and the conversation shifted from heavy to light. Favorite books, terrible movies they'd loved anyway, childhood embarrassments. "I once got stuck in a laundry chute," Elena said, laughing at the memory. "I was convinced I could slide down it like in the cartoons. Turns out real laundry chutes are much narrower and less fun than cartoon ones." "How old were you?" 8, and absolutely convinced I was going to die in there before they could pull me out." "Did you? Die?" "Obviously not." "Get pulled out?" "Eventually, after my dad stopped laughing long enough to actually help." She stole a fry from the plate. "Your turn. Worst childhood decision." Noah thought back. "I tried to build a treehouse when I was 10, without any actual knowledge of construction or physics. It collapsed the first time I climbed into it." "Were you hurt?" "Sprained ankle, bruised ego, and a newfound respect for proper load-bearing calculations." "Is that when you decided to become a carpenter?" "Honestly, yeah. I figured if I was going to build things, I should probably learn how to do it right." They stayed until the coffee turned cold and the waitress started giving them pointed looks. Outside, the sun had started to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. "This was nice," Elena said, her wheelchair positioned next to Noah's truck. "It was." "Want to do it again?" Noah smiled. "Yeah, I do." "Good." She pulled out her phone. "Next week? Same time?" "I'll be there." He watched her drive away, then sat in his truck for a moment, feeling something unfamiliar settling in his chest. Not quite happiness, too early for that. But possibility, maybe. The sense that his carefully controlled life might have room for something more. His phone rang. Marcus. "How's it going?" Marcus asked, his voice too cheerful. You set me up with someone in a wheelchair and didn't think to mention it. Would it have mattered? Noah opened his mouth to say, of course not, then stopped. Because it had mattered. Maybe not in the way Marcus thought, but it had changed his expectations, his approach, his assumptions going in. It should have been her choice whether to tell me, Noah said instead. Not yours to hide. Fair, Marcus admitted. But you like her. I barely know her. That's not an answer. Noah sighed. Yeah, I like her. Are you happy? Extremely. You're welcome. I didn't thank you. You will, eventually. The line went dead and Noah sat there shaking his head. But Marcus was right about one thing. Noah was already planning next Saturday in his mind, already wondering what they'd talk about, where they'd go, already interested in finding out. He drove home to find Lily reading on the couch, still in her party dress, chocolate frosting on her cheek. How was the party? He asked, kissing the top of her head. Good, we had a piñata. I got 3 pieces of candy. She held up her small plastic bag as evidence. How was your coffee? It was actually a walk. And then diner food. Lily looked up, eyes sharp. With the same lady from last week? Yeah. Do you like her? Noah settled onto the couch beside her. I think I might. Is she nice? She is. She's funny and smart, and she doesn't put up with any nonsense. Does she like kids? I don't know yet. We haven't talked about that. Lily considered this seriously. You should probably find out. Because I come with you. We're a package. Noah felt his throat tighten. We are definitely a package. Okay, just making sure you remembered. He pulled her close, breathing in the smell of party cake and strawberry shampoo. I could never forget that, Lil. You're my number 1. Always. I know, Dad. She patted his arm with sticky fingers. But it's okay if you have a number 2 sometimes, as long as they're nice. And there it was. Permission from the person whose opinion mattered most. I'll keep that in mind, Noah said softly. They sat together in the fading daylight, Lily reading her book, Noah staring at nothing and everything, feeling the careful walls of his life beginning to shift in ways both terrifying and strangely hopeful. Outside, the world kept turning. Inside, something new was beginning to take shape, slowly, carefully. One coffee, one walk, one conversation at a time. The weeks that followed fell into an unexpected rhythm. Noah and Elena started meeting regularly, sometimes at the park, sometimes at the diner, once at a bookstore where they spent 2 hours browsing different sections and texting each other ridiculous book titles they found. Nothing was forced, nothing felt heavy. It was just easy. Too easy, maybe. Noah found himself looking forward to Saturdays in a way he hadn't looked forward to anything in years. He'd catch himself checking his phone during work breaks, hoping for a text from Elena. Small things. A funny observation about her cat, a sketch she'd finished, a question about what kind of wood worked best for outdoor furniture. You're distracted, his friend James said one afternoon. They were working on a deck together, the October sun warm on their backs. I'm not distracted. You just measured that board 3 times and got 3 different numbers. Noah looked down at the tape measure in his hand. I'm being thorough. You're being weird. James sat back on his heels, wiping sweat from his forehead. What's going on? Lily okay? Lily's fine. Work stuff? Work's good. James studied him with the knowing look of someone who'd been friends with Noah since high school. It's a woman, isn't it? I don't know what you're talking about. You have that look. That stupid look guys get when they're thinking about someone. Noah threw a wood shaving at him. Focus on the deck. Answer the question first. There's nothing to answer. I've been seeing someone, casually. It's not a big deal. Seeing someone casually for how long? Few weeks. And you didn't mention it because... Noah set down the measuring tape and reached for his water bottle. Because I don't know what it is yet. We're just spending time together, getting to know each other. That's it. Does Lily know? She knows I've been having coffee with someone. I haven't introduced them yet. But you're thinking about it. Noah took a long drink of water instead of answering, which was answer enough. James grinned. Man, you've got it bad. I don't have anything. It's just nice to talk to another adult who isn't you or Marcus or my clients. Whatever you say. James stood, stretching his back. But for what it's worth, it's good to see you interested in something that isn't work or parenting. You've been running on empty for too long. That evening, after Lily was in bed, Noah found himself thinking about James's words. Running on empty. Was that what he'd been doing? It hadn't felt that way. It had felt like survival, like doing what needed to be done. He'd built a good life for himself and Lily. Small, maybe. Controlled. But good. His phone lit up with a text from Elena. Random question. Do you believe in ghosts? Noah smiled, typing back. That's definitely random. Why? I'm illustrating a book about a haunted library, and I'm trying to decide if the ghost should be scary or friendly. Friendly ghost. Kids have enough real things to be scared of. That's what I was thinking too. Thanks for confirming my instinct. Anytime. There was a pause, then, what are you doing right now? Sitting on my couch, pretending I'm going to fold the laundry I washed 3 days ago. Sounds thrilling. It's riveting. You? Sketching terrible ghost ideas and wondering why I chose this career. Because you're good at it? Sometimes I forget that part. Noah stared at his phone, feeling the pull to keep the conversation going. To ask her about her day, her work, what she was thinking about. The small intimacies that came with getting to know someone. Instead, he typed, want to do something different. Saturday? Not just coffee or walking. Like what? There's a farmer's market downtown. Music, food trucks, local vendors, very low key. Thought it might be a nice change. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. That sounds good. But full disclosure, crowds can be tricky for me. People don't always watch where they're going. We can leave if it gets too crowded. No pressure. Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Saturday arrived cold and crisp, the kind of autumn day that smelled like wood smoke and coming winter. Noah picked Lily up from her soccer practice, drove her to his mother's house for the afternoon, and endured 15 minutes of questions about where he was going and who he was seeing. Just a friend, Mom. His mother, Linda Carter, gave him the look she'd perfected over 63 years of life. A friend you see every Saturday. Some people have consistent friendships. Some people are terrible liars. She kissed his cheek. Go. Have fun. Lily and I are making cookies. Don't let her eat all the dough. I make no promises. The farmer's market was busier than Noah had expected. Stalls lined both sides of Main Street, selling everything from fresh produce to handmade jewelry to kettle corn. A bluegrass band played on a small stage near the fountain, and the smell of grilled food mixed with the scent of apple cider. He found Elena near the entrance, wearing a green jacket and looking slightly apprehensive. Second thoughts? He asked. Third and fourth thoughts, actually. She gestured at the crowd. This is more people than I anticipated. We can bail. Seriously, no hard feelings. Elena looked at the market, then at him, then back at the market. No, I want to try. Just stay close? I can do that. They moved through the stalls slowly, Elena navigating the uneven brick sidewalk with practiced care. Noah found himself hyper-aware of the people around them. The ones who stared, the ones who moved aside awkwardly, the ones who pretended not to notice while clearly noticing. But Elena seemed unbothered, stopping to examine handmade pottery, to smell lavender soaps, to ask a vendor about the difference between 2 types of honey. You should get the wildflower, Noah said, reading the labels. Why? It's better for allergies, and it tastes less aggressive than the clover. Elena bought a jar of wildflower honey and a small loaf of rosemary bread. Noah got coffee from a vendor with a portable espresso machine and what might have been the best apple cider donut he'd ever tasted. Try this, he said, breaking off a piece and offering it to Elena. She took it, chewed thoughtfully. Okay, that's unfairly good. Right? They found a spot on a bench away from the main flow of traffic, watching people pass while sharing the donut. The bluegrass band transitioned into something slower, sweeter, and for a moment everything felt surprisingly perfect. Then a woman approached them, middle-aged, well-meaning smile, hand already reaching toward Elena's shoulder. I just wanted to say you're so inspiring, she said before Elena could respond. Seeing you out here, living your life despite everything, it just makes my problems seem so small. Noah felt Elena go rigid beside him, saw her jaw tighten. Thanks, Elena said flatly. The woman seemed oblivious to the tension. Do you need any help? Can I get you anything? I'm fine. Are you sure? It must be so difficult. I said I'm fine. Elena's voice had an edge now. I'm just sitting here eating a donut, same as everyone else. The woman's smile faltered. I was only trying to be nice. Then try being nice by treating me like a regular person, not a motivation poster. The woman left, offended and confused, and Elena stared straight ahead, breathing carefully through her nose. Sorry, she said after a moment. I shouldn't have snapped at her. Don't apologize. She was out of line. She meant well. That doesn't make it less invasive. Noah took a sip of his coffee. People do that to me sometimes too. Not the same way, but similar. The whole wow, single dad, you're so amazing thing. Like basic parenting deserves a parade when men do it. Do you snap at them? Mentally. Externally, I just smile and change the subject. Elena laughed, some of the tension leaving her shoulders. That's probably healthier than my approach. Different situations require different responses. That woman needed to hear what you said. They sat quietly for a while, watching a toddler chase pigeons near the fountain. The band started a new song, something upbeat and slightly off-key. This is nice, Elena said eventually, being here, with you, even with the unwanted inspiration moments. It is nice. But it's also complicated. Noah turned to look at her. What do you mean? Elena seemed to be choosing her words carefully. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, these Saturday meetups, the texts, the getting to know each other, and it's been good, really good. But I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. What shoe? The one where you realize this is too much work, where the reality of my life becomes inconvenient or uncomfortable or just more than you signed up for. Noah set down his coffee. Has that happened before? Every time. Elena's voice was matter-of-fact, but pain lived underneath it. I meet someone, we get along, things seem fine. Then reality sets in. The accessibility issues, the stares, the fact that I can't do everything spontaneously, and they start making excuses, getting distant. Eventually they disappear. I'm not going to disappear. You say that now. I mean it. Elena looked at him directly. Do you? Because I need you to understand something. This isn't temporary. I'm not going to wake up one day and not need this chair. This is my life. Permanently. And if you're looking for something easy, something uncomplicated, you should know that being with me isn't that. The word hung between them. Being with me. Not just meeting for coffee. Not just casual friendship. Something more intentional. Noah took a breath. Can I tell you something? Sure. My life isn't easy either. It's not the same as yours, but it's complicated in its own ways. I've got a 7-year-old daughter who comes first, always. I run my own business, which means unpredictable hours and income. I have an ex-wife who might show up out of nowhere or might stay gone forever. I genuinely don't know. Anyone who gets close to me has to be okay with all of that. I know. So we're both complicated. We both have things that make relationships harder. But here's what I've learned over the past few weeks. Complicated doesn't mean bad. And I'd rather have something real and messy than something easy and hollow. Elena was quiet, processing. Finally, she said, You've thought about this. I have. About us. About what this is. Yeah. And what conclusion did you reach? Noah smiled slightly. That I want to keep seeing you. That I like who I am when I'm with you. That Lily asked me last week if you like kids, and I realized I want to know the answer to that question. What did you tell her? That I'd find out. Elena's expression softened. I do like kids. I illustrate books for them, remember? And from what you've told me, your daughter sounds great. She is. Am I going to meet her? The question was casual, but Noah understood the weight behind it. Meeting Lily meant something. It meant moving from whatever this was into something more defined, more real. Do you want to? He asked. I think so. Maybe. If you think it's the right time. There's never a perfect time for these things. True. Elena twisted the honey jar in her hands. What if she doesn't like me? She will. You don't know that. I know my daughter, and I know you. You'll be fine. They left the market as the afternoon started to fade, the temperature dropping as the sun moved lower. Noah walked Elena to her car, watched her transfer from wheelchair to driver's seat with the same efficient movements he'd seen before. Thanks for today, she said through the open window. Thanks for giving the crowd a chance. Thanks for not running when it got weird. I told you, I'm not going anywhere. Elena studied his face, looking for something. Whatever she found seemed to satisfy her because she nodded slowly. Okay, I'm choosing to believe you. Good. She started the engine, then paused. Noah? Yeah. I like you. A lot. More than I planned to, and that's kind of terrifying. Noah leaned against her car. I like you too. Also more than planned. Also kind of terrifying. What do we do about that? Keep showing up, I guess. Keep being honest. See what happens. That simple? That's simple. Elena smiled, a real smile, full and bright. Okay then. Same time next week? I'll text you. He watched her drive away, then stood in the parking lot for a long moment, breathing in the cold air and processing everything that had shifted between them. They'd crossed some invisible line today, acknowledged that this was more than casual, more than friendship. His phone buzzed. Lily, texting from his mother's phone. When are you picking me up? Grandma let me eat 4 cookies. Noah smiled and typed back. On my way. And 4 cookies is too many. You're not the boss of cookies. Pretty sure I am, actually. He drove to his mother's house where he found Lily covered in flour and chocolate chips, bouncing off the walls from sugar. She had 5 cookies, his mother said, not remotely apologetic. You're supposed to be the responsible grandparent. I'm the fun grandparent. Your father was the responsible one. She handed him a container of cookies. These are for you. And also, you look different. Different how? Lighter. Less like you're carrying the world on your shoulders. She patted his cheek. It's good to see. In the car, Lily chattered about her afternoon. The cookies she'd made, the game she'd played with Grandma, the neighbor's cat that had wandered into the yard. Noah listened with half his attention, the other half still processing the conversation with Elena. Dad? Lily's voice cut through his thoughts. Yeah, sweetheart? Can I ask you something? Always. The lady you've been seeing, is she your girlfriend now? Noah glanced in the rearview mirror. Lily was watching him with those serious brown eyes, flowers still smudged on her cheek. I don't know yet, he said honestly. We're still figuring that out. But you want her to be? Maybe. Would that be okay with you? Lily considered this with the gravity of a Supreme Court justice. I think I need to meet her first, to make sure she's good enough. Good enough for who? For us. We're a package, remember? Noah felt his chest tighten with love for this kid who understood things she shouldn't have to understand at 7 years old. We are a package, and yes, you should meet her. I'll talk to her about it. Soon? Soon. Okay. Lily went back to looking out the window. But Dad, she better like cookies. That's non-negotiable. I'll make sure to mention that. That night, after Lily was asleep, Noah texted Elena. Lily wants to meet you. The response came quickly. That was fast. She's perceptive and protective. What did you tell her about me? That you're smart and funny and make me laugh. That you draw pictures for books. That you have a cat named after Jane Austen. Solid summary. She wants to make sure you're good enough for us. Her words. No pressure then. She also said you have to like cookies. Non-negotiable. I love cookies. Tell her I'm basically a cookie enthusiast. Noah smiled at his phone. When do you want to do this? Whenever you think is right. No rush. I know this is a big step. Next Saturday? We could do something casual. Maybe the park. That works. Noah? Yeah? I'm nervous. Me too. What if she hates me? She won't. But what if she does? Then we'll deal with it. But she won't. Trust me. Okay. I'm trusting you. The week passed in a blur of work and school routines and increasing anxiety. Noah found himself second-guessing everything. Was it too soon? Should he have waited longer? What if this went badly and confused Lily? What if Elena and Lily didn't connect? You're spiraling, James said on Friday, watching Noah measure the same piece of trim for the third time. I'm not spiraling. You're definitely spiraling. What's going on? Noah set down the measuring tape. Elena's meeting Lily tomorrow. And you're freaking out. I'm not freaking out. You just measured that trim 3 times. I'm being thorough. James laughed. Man, this is serious, isn't it? You're actually falling for this woman. I barely know her. That's not what I asked. Noah rubbed his face with both hands. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't introduced anyone to Lily since Sarah left. What if I'm moving too fast? What if this screws her up somehow? Or, James said calmly, what if it goes fine? What if Lily likes Elena and Elena likes Lily and you all have a nice afternoon at the park? That seems unlikely. Why? Because nothing in my life has ever been that straightforward. Maybe it's time for that to change. Saturday morning arrived too quickly. Noah made pancakes, Lily's favorite, and tried not to let his nervousness show. Are you okay, Dad? Lily asked, drowning her pancakes in syrup. You keep staring at nothing. I'm fine. Just thinking. About Elena? Yeah. Are you worried I won't like her? A little. Lily took a huge bite of pancake, chewed thoughtfully. What if I am mean to her to test if she's serious? Please don't do that. But what if I need to see if she can handle tough situations? Lily, be yourself. Be kind. That's all I'm asking. Okay. She took another bite. But if she's mean to you or to me, I'm going to tell her to leave. Deal. They met Elena at the same park where Noah and Elena had walked weeks ago. She was waiting near the entrance, looking as nervous as Noah felt. Lily held Noah's hand tightly as they approached, suddenly shy. Hi, Elena said, her voice warm but careful. You must be Lily. I've heard a lot about you. Lily pressed closer to Noah's leg. Hi. I like your shoes. Are those stars? Lily looked down at her light-up sneakers. Yeah, they blink when I walk. That's really cool. Way cooler than my boring wheels. That got a small smile. Your wheels are shiny, though. They are pretty shiny, aren't they? The tension broke slightly. Lily released Noah's hand and stepped closer, examining Elena's wheelchair with the frank curiosity of a child. Can I ask you something? Lily said. Sure. Why do you use a wheelchair? Lily, Noah started, but Elena waved him off. It's okay. I was in a car accident when I was younger and it hurt my spine. So now my legs don't work the way they used to, and the wheelchair helps me get around. Does it hurt? Not anymore. It did for a while, but now it's just how I move. Kind of like how you use your legs to walk, I use wheels. Lily processed this with serious concentration. Can you do tricks? Like what? Like wheelies or spins or jumps? Elena laughed. I can do a pretty good wheelie. Want to see? Yes, Elena demonstrated, lifting her front wheels off the ground and balancing for a few seconds before settling back down. Lily's face lit up. That was so cool. Can you teach me? These wheelchairs are pretty specific to the person using them, so probably not. But I bet your dad could teach you how to do a wheelie on a bike. I don't have a bike. Well then, Elena said, looking at Noah with an expression that was pure mischief. Sounds like your dad needs to fix that. Noah shook his head, smiling despite himself. Thanks for that. Anytime. They walked and rolled through the park together, Lily gradually warming up and asking a million questions. What kind of books did Elena illustrate? Did she have pets? What was her favorite color? Did she like cookies? I love cookies, Elena said seriously. Chocolate chip especially. Those are my favorite too. Lily looked at Noah triumphantly. See, Dad? She likes cookies. I see that. They ended up at the playground where Lily ran off to the swings with instructions to stay where they could see her. That went better than I expected, Elena said quietly. She likes you. You think? I know. She wouldn't have asked about teaching her wheelies if she didn't. Elena watched Lily pump her legs, gaining height on the swing. She's great, really great. You've done an amazing job with her. Thanks. Noah sat on the bench beside Elena. She's the best thing I've ever done. I can tell. The way she looks at you, she knows she's loved. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Lily play. Other kids joined her on the playground, and Noah noticed how naturally they accepted Elena's presence. Kids didn't stare the way adults did. They just incorporated her into their understanding of the world and moved on. Dad? Lily called from the top of the slide. Watch this! She went down head first, laughing the whole way. That's going to give me a heart attack one day, Noah muttered. She's fine. Let her be wild. Easy for you to say. You don't have to explain to the ER why we're there for the third time this year. Third time? She's adventurous. I'm getting that impression. Lily ran back over, breathless and happy. Can Elena come have lunch with us? Noah looked at Elena, who looked back at him with raised eyebrows. If she wants to, Noah said. I want to, Elena said, but only if we're going somewhere with really good cookies. The diner, Lily shouted. They have the best chocolate chip cookies ever, and they're huge, and Dad always tries to make me share, but I never want to. Sounds perfect. The diner was crowded with the lunch rush, but they found a booth near the back. Lily insisted on sitting next to Elena, chattering away about school and her best friend Maya and the art project she was working on. Elena listened attentively, asking questions, laughing at Lily's jokes. Noah watched them interact and felt something settle in his chest. This was right. Whatever doubts he'd had, whatever fears, they were fading in the face of this simple, ordinary moment. They ordered burgers and fries, and when the food came, Lily announced she was getting her own cookie this time. Thank you very much. Good for you, Elena said. Never let anyone tell you to share dessert if you don't want to. See, Dad? Elena gets it. I'm being ganged up on already. This is concerning. This is teamwork, Elena corrected. After lunch, they walked back to the parking lot. Lily was yawning, the sugar crash hitting hard. Thank you for today, Elena said to Lily. I had a really good time. Me too. Can we do it again? I'd like that. Next Saturday? Elena glanced at Noah, who nodded. Next Saturday. In the car, Lily lasted about 5 minutes before falling asleep. Noah drove in silence, processing the afternoon, feeling the weight and wonder of what was beginning to take shape. His phone buzzed at a red light. A text from Elena. Thank you for letting me meet her. She's wonderful. Thank you for being so good with her. It wasn't hard. She makes it easy. So do you. Are we doing this? Really doing this? Noah looked in the rearview mirror at Lily sleeping peacefully in her booster seat, then at the message on his phone. Yeah, he typed back. I think we are. The days after that first meeting blurred together in the best possible way. Elena started appearing in their lives more regularly. Not every day, not intrusively, but enough that Lily began asking about her unprompted. Enough that Noah found himself planning his weeks around the moments when they'd all be together. It felt natural. Easy in a way Noah hadn't expected. Elena would meet them at the park after school sometimes, or join them for pizza on Friday nights. She taught Lily how to sketch basic shapes, showed her the process of turning ideas into illustrations. Lily was fascinated, spending hours at the kitchen table with pencils and paper, trying to recreate Elena's techniques. Look, Dad, Lily held up a drawing one evening. It's Carrot, but as a superhero. Noah examined the sketch, a rabbit with a cape and mask, surprisingly well proportioned for a 7-year-old's work. That's really good, Lil. Elena showed me how to do the ears. See how they're not just circles? They have shape. I see that. She's a really good teacher, way better than Miss Peterson at school. Miss Peterson teaches you math. Elena teaches you art. Different skills. Lily wrinkled her nose. Math is boring. Art is fun. Math pays for art supplies. That's what Elena said too. Lily flopped onto the couch beside him. You guys think the same about a lot of stuff. Do we? Yeah, like how you both think I should eat vegetables even though they're gross, and how you both say please and thank you all the time, and how you both get quiet when you're thinking hard about something. Noah pulled her close, kissed the top of her head. You're very observant. I know, Maya says I notice everything. She was quiet for a moment, then, Dad, do you love Elena? The question landed like a stone in still water, sending ripples in every direction. That's a big question, kiddo. But do you? Noah thought about how to answer honestly without making promises he couldn't keep. I care about her a lot. I like spending time with her. She makes me happy. But is that love? Sometimes. Love is complicated. It means different things at different times. Lily considered this with her characteristic seriousness. I think I love her. Not like how I love you. That's different. But I love how she talks to me like I'm a real person, not just a kid. And I love her drawings and how she always remembers what I tell her. Those are good reasons to love someone. So it's okay if I do? It's more than okay. Lily nodded, satisfied, and went back to her drawing. But Noah sat there feeling the weight of his daughter's easy acceptance, her willingness to open her heart to someone new. It was brave. Braver than he'd been, maybe. That Saturday, Elena suggested something different. There's an art exhibit downtown, she said over the phone. Kid-friendly, interactive stuff. I thought Lily might enjoy it. She'd love that. When? This afternoon? 2 o'clock? We'll be there. The gallery was in a converted warehouse, all exposed brick and high ceilings, and natural light streaming through massive windows. The exhibit focused on children's book illustrations, original artwork from dozens of famous books displayed alongside the creative process behind them. Lily's eyes went wide the moment they walked in. Dad, look! That's from The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Elena wheeled up beside her. Eric Carle. He uses tissue paper collage for his illustrations. See how you can see the different layers? They moved through the gallery slowly, Lily pointing out books she recognized, Elena explaining techniques and artistic choices. Noah hung back slightly, watching them together. The way Elena met Lily at eye level when answering questions. The way Lily unconsciously rested a hand on Elena's wheelchair while looking at artwork. The same way she'd lean against Noah when they stood together. Trust. Easy, uncomplicated trust. This one's my favorite, Lily announced, stopping in front of an illustration from a book about a girl who befriended the moon. Why? Elena asked. Because she looks brave, like she's not scared of anything. What makes you think she's brave? Lily studied the image. Her face, and how she's reaching up even though the moon is really far away. She's trying anyway. Elena glanced at Noah, something soft in her expression. That's a really good observation. You're right. Trying even when things are hard is brave. They spent 2 hours in the gallery, ending up in a workshop area where kids could create their own illustrations. Lily threw herself into it immediately, covering her hands with paint and making elaborate scenes involving rabbits and castles and what appeared to be a dragon. She's got talent, Elena said quietly, watching Lily work. She gets it from somewhere, not me. I can barely draw stick figures. Maybe her mom? Noah shook his head. Sarah wasn't artistic, smart, but not creative. Lily's thing is all her own. Elena was quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever worry about her? About how Sarah leaving affected her? It was the first time Elena had directly asked about Sarah, and Noah appreciated the careful way she approached it. All the time, he admitted. She was 4 when Sarah left. Old enough to remember, young enough to not really understand. For a while she'd ask when Mommy was coming home. Then she stopped asking. That must have been hard. The hardest thing I've ever gone through, harder than the divorce itself. Watching my daughter wait for someone who wasn't coming back. Does Sarah reach out at all? Birthday cards, sometimes. Christmas, occasionally. There's no pattern to it, which almost makes it worse. If Lily could count on nothing, she could make peace with it. But instead, she gets these random reminders that her mom exists but doesn't choose to be present. Elena's hand found his, squeezed gently. You're doing a good job. I know that probably doesn't mean much coming from someone who just met you both. But Lily is happy. Secure. That's because of you. Thanks, Noah said, throat tight. That means more than you know. Lily came running over, paint-covered hands held out. I finished. Want to see? Absolutely. The painting was chaotic and vibrant, exactly what a 7-year-old's art should be. Elena praised the color choices and composition, pointing out specific details that showed real skill. Lily glowed under the attention. On the drive home, Lily fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from the afternoon's excitement. Elena had followed in her own car, and they ended up sitting in Noah's driveway, both of them reluctant to end the day. "Thank you for today," Noah said. "She had a great time." "So did I. She's special, Noah, really special." "I know." Elena looked toward the house, then back at him. "This is getting serious, isn't it? Us. Whatever this is." "Yeah, it is. That scares me." "Me too. But I don't want to stop." "Neither do I." They sat in the comfortable silence that had become their trademark, the kind of quiet that felt full rather than empty. "Do you want to come in?" Noah asked. "I can make coffee. We can talk." Elena hesitated, and Noah saw the moment she made the decision. "Okay, yeah, let's talk." Inside, Noah carried a still sleeping Lily to her room, tucking her in without waking her. When he came back downstairs, Elena was in the living room, looking at the photos on the wall. Pictures of Lily at different ages, a few of Noah and his parents, one of him and Lily on a beach somewhere. "No pictures of Sarah," Elena observed. "I took them down a year after she left." Keeping them up felt like lying to Lily about who was present in her life. "That makes sense." Noah started the coffee maker, the familiar sounds filling the quiet house. "So, talking." "Talking," Elena echoed. She wheeled to the couch, and Noah sat beside her. "I need to tell you something about why this scares me." "Okay." She took a breath. "I told you people leave. What I didn't tell you is how that pattern started. I was engaged once, before the accident, actually. His name was David. We'd been together since college, had this whole future planned out." Noah stayed quiet, letting her speak. "When the accident happened, he stayed at first, visited me in the hospital, came to physical therapy appointments, said all the right things, but I could see him pulling away, little by little, making excuses, looking at me differently." Her voice remained steady, but pain lived underneath it. "He broke it off 6 months after the accident, said he couldn't handle it, that he'd signed up for a different life." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. It taught me something important. The declarations and promises don't mean much when reality gets hard. People say they're in it for the long haul, but most of them are only in it while it's convenient." "That's not fair to you." "Maybe not, but it's been my experience." Elena turned to face him fully. "So when I say this scares me, I mean the part where I start believing it might be different this time, where I let myself trust that you're actually going to stay. Because if I'm wrong, if you leave too, I don't know if I can go through that again." Noah understood what she was really asking, not for promises, for proof that he'd thought this through, that he understood what he was signing up for. "I'm not David," he said carefully. "I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what the future looks like, or that there won't be challenges. But I'm also not new to hard things. I've been raising Lily alone for 3 years. I know what commitment looks like, what showing up means, even when it's difficult. This is different." "How?" "Because Lily is your daughter. You don't have a choice but to show up for her. With me, you do have a choice. You could walk away anytime and your life would probably be easier for it." "Easier isn't always better." "That sounds nice, but Elena." Noah waited until she met his eyes. "I'm not looking for easy. If I wanted easy, I would have stayed single. I would have kept my life exactly how it was, controlled, predictable, safe, but I didn't. I met you, and I kept showing up, and I introduced you to my daughter. Do you know what that means?" "What?" "It means I've already made a choice. Maybe not forever, we barely know each other. But I've chosen to try, to see where this goes. And I don't make choices like that lightly, especially not when Lily's involved." Elena was quiet for a long moment. What if it gets hard? Not theoretically hard, actually hard. What if there are accessibility issues or health complications or just the daily reality of being with someone who's disabled? Then we deal with it, together, the same way we deal with any challenge. You make it sound simple. It's not simple, but it's also not impossible. Noah reached for her hand. "Look, I can't promise I'll be perfect at this. I'm going to mess up, say the wrong thing, Probably overstep sometimes trying to help when you don't need it. But I can promise I'm not going to run. I can promise I'm here because I want to be, not because I pity you or think you need saving. How do I know that? Because I'm still here. Because when that woman at the farmer's market made you uncomfortable, I didn't get weird about it. Because when Lily asked you direct questions about your wheelchair, I didn't try to shut down the conversation. Because I see you, Elena. Not your chair, not your disability. You. Elena's eyes were bright, and Noah realized she was fighting tears. I want to believe you, she said quietly. Then believe me. She leaned forward, and Noah met her halfway, their foreheads touching in the space between them. It wasn't a kiss, not yet. Just proximity, trust, the beginning of something real. Okay, Elena whispered. I'm choosing to believe you. Good. They stayed like that until the coffee maker beeped, breaking the moment. Noah got up to pour 2 cups, and when he came back, Elena had composed herself. So what now? She asked. Now we keep doing what we've been doing, spending time together, getting to know each other, letting Lily be part of it. No big declarations or relationship labels. Not unless you want them. Elena smiled. I'm good without them for now. What we have, it's enough. It is. They talked until the coffee went cold, then made another pot and talked some more. About their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. About the small disappointments and surprising joys that had shaped their lives. It was the kind of conversation that felt like discovering a new room in a house you thought you knew completely. Around midnight, Elena finally said she should go home. Noah walked her to the door, watched her navigate the small step down to the driveway. Noah? Yeah? Thank you. For listening. For being patient with me. Thank you for trusting me enough to be honest. He watched her drive away, then went inside and checked on Lily. She was sprawled across her bed, carrot tucked under one arm, her new painting propped carefully on her nightstand. Noah pulled the blanket over her, kissed her forehead, and whispered, You were right, kiddo. She's good enough for us. The next few weeks brought a shift in their dynamic. What had started as careful testing of boundaries became something more natural. Elena started keeping a toothbrush at Noah's house. Noah learned which restaurants had the best accessibility and which ones to avoid. Lily started referring to Elena as basically family when talking to her friends. It wasn't always smooth. There were moments of tension, misunderstandings that needed to be talked through, like the time Noah tried to help Elena with something she didn't need help with, and she snapped at him out of frustration. Or when Elena made plans without checking if Noah had Lily that weekend, assuming he'd figure it out. But they learned, they adjusted, they communicated. One Saturday in late November, Elena showed up at Noah's house looking troubled. What's wrong? He asked immediately. Can we talk? They sent Lily to her room to play, and Noah braced himself for bad news. I got a call yesterday, Elena said. From my ex, David. Noah's stomach dropped. Okay. He's getting married. Wanted to let me know, apparently. Said he hoped we could be friends. How do you feel about that? Angry. Confused. I don't know. Elena's hands twisted in her lap. He left me because I was too much work, and now he gets to ride off into the sunset with someone else? It feels unfair. It is unfair. And the worst part, the part that makes me feel pathetic, is that for about 5 minutes after hanging up, I wondered if I was the problem. If maybe I really am too difficult to love. Noah moved to sit beside her, taking both her hands in his. Listen to me. You're not too difficult to love. David was too weak to handle reality. That's his failing, not yours. But what if... No, there's no what if here. Some people run when things get hard. Some people stay. David ran. I'm staying. That's the difference. Elena looked at him with red-rimmed eyes. Promise? I promise. She collapsed against him, and Noah held her while she cried. Not for David, he realized, but for the years of doubt and hurt that call had dredged up. He held her until the tears stopped, until her breathing evened out, until she pulled back and wiped her eyes with embarrassment. Sorry, she said. That was dramatic. That was human. You're allowed to have feelings. Still, not exactly the fun Saturday you probably had planned. The best Saturdays aren't always the fun ones. Sometimes they're the ones where you show up for someone who needs you. Elena smiled through the remnants of tears. When did you get so wise? Single parenthood, it ages you fast. That night, after Elena had gone home and Lily was asleep, Noah lay in bed thinking about the conversation, about promises and staying power and the difference between saying words and meaning them. He thought about Sarah, who'd promised forever and left anyway, about David, who'd done the same to Elena. He understood Elena's fear now, really understood it, and he understood that his words alone wouldn't be enough to heal it. Only time would do that. Only the accumulation of small moments of staying, of showing up, of choosing her again and again. The following week, Noah made a decision. On Wednesday evening, after dinner, he asked Lily to sit with him at the kitchen table. I want to talk to you about something important, he said. Lily looked up from her homework, immediately serious. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart. Nothing like that. I want to talk to you about Elena. What about her? How would you feel if she spent more time here? Like, a lot more time. Maybe even stayed over sometimes. Lily's eyes widened. Like a sleepover? Sort of. More like, she'd be here more often. Part of our family. Is she going to be my mom? Noah had been expecting this question, but still wasn't fully prepared for it. No, Elena isn't trying to replace your mom. Nobody could do that. But she cares about both of us a lot, and I care about her. So she'd be something different, someone important in our lives. Lily thought about this carefully. Where would she sleep? We'd figure that out together, but probably with me. Oh. Lily processed this. Maya's mom has a boyfriend who stays over sometimes. Maya says it's weird at first, but then it's normal. That's pretty accurate. Okay. I think it's okay then, as long as she still does art with me. I'm sure she will. And as long as you still do movie nights with me. Always. That's non-negotiable. Lily nodded, satisfied. Then I think it's good. I like Elena. She makes you smile more. She does? Yeah. You smile different when she's around. Like you're happy, not just regular happy. Noah pulled Lily into a hug, overwhelmed by his daughter's perception and acceptance. I love you, kiddo. You know that? I know, Dad. I love you too. That Saturday, Noah picked up Elena and drove to a spot he'd been planning to show her. A lookout point on the edge of town that offered views of the whole valley. It required a short hike from the parking area, and he'd researched carefully to make sure the path was accessible. They sat in Elena's car with the heat running, watching the sun set over the mountains. This is beautiful, Elena said softly. I used to come here when I needed to think, before Lily, when life felt too big to handle. What did you think about? Everything. Nothing. How my life turned out different than I planned, whether that was okay. And? Is it okay? Noah looked at her, really looked at her, at the woman who'd challenged him, opened him up, made him believe in possibilities again. Yeah, he said. It's more than okay. Elena reached for his hand. I'm glad I met you, Noah Carter, even though you were part of Marcus's terrible setup plan. I'm glad I met you too, even though you terrified me at first. I terrified you? Completely. You were so direct, so unafraid to call me out. I wasn't used to that. And now? Now it's one of my favorite things about you. They watched the last of the sun disappear below the horizon, the sky turning from orange to purple to deep blue. In the growing darkness, Noah felt Elena shift beside him. Noah? Yeah? I think I'm falling in love with you. His heart stopped, then started again, faster. You think? Okay, fine. I know. I'm falling in love with you, and it's terrifying and wonderful, and I needed you to know. Noah turned to face her fully. I'm falling in love with you too, have been for a while now. Really? Really? Elena laughed, the sound bright and surprised. Well, okay then. Okay then, Noah echoed. They kissed for the first time there in that car, overlooking the valley, with the stars beginning to appear overhead. It was gentle and careful and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, Elena was smiling. So what happens now? Now we go home. I make dinner. Lily shows you her latest drawings. We figure out the next day and the day after that. That simple? That's simple. They drove back through the darkening evening, hands linked across the console. Two people who'd found each other despite all the reasons they could have stayed apart. Two people choosing to build something real and messy and worth fighting for. At Noah's house, Lily met them at the door, bouncing with excitement about something that had happened at school. Elena listened with full attention while Noah started dinner, and watching them together, his daughter and the woman he loved, Noah felt something settle deep in his chest. This was it. This was the life he'd been afraid to hope for. Complicated, imperfect, but undeniably his. And for the first time in years, that was enough. The weeks that followed brought a different kind of settling, the way furniture slowly finds its permanent place in a new house. Elena's presence became woven into the fabric of their daily life. Her art supplies migrating to a corner of Noah's living room, her coffee mug claiming a spot in his cabinet, her laughter filling spaces that had been quiet for too long. But settling in didn't mean easy. It meant learning each other's rough edges, the places where old wounds still ached, the moments when vulnerability felt like too much exposure. The first real crack appeared on a Wednesday evening in early December. Noah had spent the day on a difficult job site, dealing with a client who kept changing specifications and a subcontractor who'd measured everything wrong. He came home exhausted, wanting nothing more than silence and a hot shower. Instead, he found Elena and Lily in the middle of an elaborate art project that had taken over the entire kitchen table, paint and glitter and construction paper everywhere. "Dad," Lily called out, "look what we're making. It's a whole city with buildings and people and—" "That's great, Lil," Noah interrupted, his voice coming out sharper than intended. "But can you guys clean this up? I need to make dinner." Elena looked up, catching the edge in his tone. "We can move to the living room. It's fine, just—" Noah stopped, running a hand through his hair. "Never mind, I'll order pizza." He retreated upstairs without another word, heard the silence that followed his exit. In the shower, guilt crept in alongside the hot water. He was taking out his frustration on them. They didn't deserve that. When he came back down 20 minutes later, the kitchen was cleaned up, the art project relocated. Lily was in her room, and Elena was sitting on the couch, clearly waiting. "I'm sorry," Noah said immediately. "I was an asshole. You were stressed. There's a difference." "That doesn't make it okay." Elena gestured to the spot beside her. "Come here." Noah sat, and she turned to face him. "Talk to me. What happened today?" He told her about the job, the frustrations, the feeling of everything spiraling despite his best efforts. Elena listened without interrupting, and when he finished, she said something unexpected. "You know you don't have to be perfect all the time, right?" "What?" "You walk around like you've got everything under control, like you can't afford to have a bad day or lose your patience or ask for help. But that's not sustainable, Noah. Eventually, something's going to break." "I can't afford to break. I have Lily depending on me. And now you have me too. You can lean on me sometimes. That's what this is supposed to be." Noah looked at her, really looked at her. "I'm not used to that." "I know, but you're going to have to get used to it, because I'm not going anywhere. And I can't be with someone who won't let me in when things are hard." It was a gentle challenge, but a challenge nonetheless. Noah felt the walls he'd built over 3 years of single parenthood, the reflexive self-reliance that had kept him functioning. Letting someone pass those walls felt dangerous. "I'll try," he said finally. "That's all I'm asking." They ordered pizza, and Noah apologized to Lily for snapping at her. She forgave him instantly, the way kids do, and they spent the evening watching a movie together. But later, after Lily was asleep and Elena had gone home, Noah lay in bed thinking about what she'd said. You don't have to be perfect all the time. He wanted to believe that, but believing it meant accepting vulnerability, and vulnerability meant risk. The second crack came from Elena's side 2 weeks later. They'd planned a weekend trip, just the two of them, while Lily stayed with Noah's mother. A small bed and breakfast 2 hours away, a chance to focus on each other without the constant demands of daily life. Noah picked Elena up Saturday morning, helped her transfer to his truck, loaded her wheelchair in the back. The drive was beautiful. Winding roads through snow-dusted mountains, easy conversation flowing between them. But when they arrived at the bed and breakfast, Noah's careful research failed him. The owner, a cheerful woman in her 60s, greeted them warmly. "Welcome! You must be the Carters. Let me show you to your room." She led them inside, chattering about the property's history, the homemade breakfast they served, the hiking trails nearby. Then she gestured to a beautiful staircase leading to the second floor. "Your room is just up here. It's got the best view of the—" She stopped, finally noticing Elena's wheelchair. "Oh, oh dear. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize—" "Is there an accessible room?" Noah asked, already knowing the answer from the sinking feeling in his stomach. "We have one on the first floor, but it's occupied this weekend. I'm terribly sorry. This is an old building, and we haven't been able to install an elevator yet." Elena's face had gone carefully blank. The expression Noah was learning meant she was hurt, but refusing to show it. "It's fine," she said. "We can find somewhere else." "I'm happy to refund your deposit." "It's fine," Elena repeated, more firmly. They left. The cheerful atmosphere from the drive completely evaporated. Noah tried calling other places, but it was peak season and everything nearby was booked. They ended up at a chain hotel 40 minutes away, the kind with automated check-in and rooms that all looked identical. "I'm sorry," Noah said as they settled into the generic space. "I should have called ahead, double-checked the accessibility. You looked at the website. It said they were accessible. I should have verified." "Noah, stop. This isn't your fault." But her voice was tight, and Noah could see the disappointment she was trying to hide. This was supposed to be romantic, special. Instead, it had turned into another reminder of how the world wasn't built with her in mind. They ordered room service and ate in near silence, the weight of the day pressing down on them. Finally, Elena spoke. "Can I tell you what I'm actually upset about?" "Please." "It's not the hotel, not really. It's that this is my life. Every trip, every outing, every supposedly simple thing requires research and planning and backup plans. And even then, it doesn't always work out." She set down her fork. "And I hate that you have to deal with that now too. That dating me means constant logistics." "Elena, no, let me finish. I see how hard you try, how much effort you put into making sure things are accessible. And I appreciate it, I do. But I also hate that you have to. I hate that I can't just be spontaneous, that we can't just show up somewhere and figure it out." Noah moved to sit beside her on the bed. "You think I mind? Don't you? At least a little? Honestly? Sometimes it's frustrating. Not because of you, but because the world makes it harder than it needs to be. But that's not on you. That's on every building owner who doesn't think about accessibility, every website that claims to be accessible when they're not. But you have to deal with the consequences. So do you, every single day. I have to deal with it occasionally. You live with it constantly. That's not the same thing." Elena was quiet for a moment. "Sometimes I wonder if you really know what you signed up for, if you understand how much of my life is shaped by limitations. Then help me understand. Talk to me about it. Don't shut down and pretend it's fine when it's not." She looked at him, eyes bright with unshed tears. "I'm scared that if I'm honest about how hard it is, you'll realize it's too much. That I'm too much." "Elena, listen to me. You are not too much. The situation is sometimes challenging, yes, but you, the person you are, you're not the problem. You've never been the problem." David said, "David was wrong. David was a coward who bailed when things got real. I'm not David. I know that. Logically, I know that. But there's this voice in my head that keeps waiting for you to figure out it would be easier with someone else." Noah took both her hands. "Easier? Maybe. Better? Not even close. I don't want easier. I want you, all of you, including the parts that require flexibility and planning. Because that comes with someone who's taught me to be more thoughtful, more aware, more present. Someone who makes me want to be better." Elena leaned her forehead against his. "I hate that I'm crying in a terrible hotel room. I hate that our romantic weekend got derailed. At least the bed looks comfortable." Silver lining. They spent the rest of the evening talking, really talking, about fears and expectations and the messy reality of building a relationship across different lived experiences. It wasn't the weekend they'd planned, but it was honest, raw, real. The next morning, over mediocre hotel coffee, Elena said something that shifted everything. I think I've been waiting for you to leave. Noah looked up from his phone, where he'd been checking the weather. What? Since we started this, part of me has been braced for the moment when it all falls apart, when you decide it's too complicated, or too much work, or just not worth it. And now? Now I'm tired of waiting for that. I'm tired of protecting myself from something that might not even happen. So I'm making a choice. What choice? To trust you, really trust you. Not halfway, not with reservations, all the way. Noah set down his phone, giving her his full attention. That's scary. Terrifying, but I think it's scarier to keep holding back, to keep one foot out the door, just in case. So what does that look like? Trusting me all the way? Elena thought about this. It means telling you when I'm struggling instead of pretending I'm fine. It means letting you help when I need it, even though that's hard for me. It means believing you when you say you're staying. I can work with that. Noah reached across the table. And for my part, I promise to tell you when I'm overwhelmed instead of shutting down, to ask for what I need instead of assuming you should know, to remember that we're a team. A team, Elena repeated, smiling slightly. I like that. They drove home that afternoon with something settled between them. Not the absence of problems, but a shared commitment to facing them together. The real test came 3 weeks later, just before Christmas. Lily had been invited to spend the holiday with Sarah's parents, a development that blindsided Noah completely. Sarah's mother called on a Tuesday evening, her voice warm but cautious. I know this is unexpected, Noah, but Frank and I would love to have Lily for Christmas. We haven't seen her in over a year, and with Sarah being so inconsistent, we don't want to lose our relationship with our granddaughter. Noah's first instinct was to say no. Sarah's parents had been largely absent since the divorce, sending cards and checks but rarely visiting. But as he listened to the genuine longing in Linda's voice, he realized this wasn't about Sarah. This was about grandparents who wanted to know their grandchild. Let me talk to Lily, he said finally. It's her choice. Lily was surprisingly enthusiastic. Grandma Linda makes really good cookies, and they have that big Christmas tree. Can I go, Dad? Noah pushed down the selfish part that wanted to keep her home. If you want to, sweetheart, I'll drive you there on Christmas Eve and pick you up the day after Christmas. After Lily went to bed, Noah sat on the couch feeling unmoored. This would be his first Christmas without her, the first major holiday completely alone since becoming a single father. Elena found him there an hour later, staring at nothing. What's wrong? She asked immediately. He told her about the call, about Lily's choice, about the strange emptiness opening up in his chest. So, you'll be alone for Christmas, Elena said quietly. Looks like it. She was quiet for a moment, then, or you could spend it with me. Noah looked at her. Yeah? Yeah. I usually spend it alone anyway. My parents are in Florida, and I'm not close with my extended family. We could make dinner, watch terrible Christmas movies, avoid the whole forced cheerfulness thing. That actually sounds perfect. Good. It's settled then. But as Christmas approached, Noah felt the absence of Lily more acutely than he'd expected. He dropped her off at Sarah's parents' house on Christmas Eve, hugged her tightly, and drove home with a lump in his throat. Elena came over that evening, bringing ingredients for dinner and a bag of gifts. I thought we said no presents, Noah said. These aren't for you, they're for your house. It needed more personality. She'd brought small things, a throw blanket for the couch, a quirky coffee mug, a framed print of a mountain landscape. Thoughtful additions that made the space feel more like theirs instead of just his. They cooked together, Elena directing from her wheelchair while Noah handled the actual stove work. They ate dinner by candlelight, talking about everything and nothing. They opened one present, each at midnight. Noah gave Elena a set of professional-grade colored pencils she'd been eyeing. Elena gave Noah a custom-made wooden box for his tools, hand-carved with his initials. When did you have time to get this made? He asked, running his fingers over the smooth wood. I have my ways. It was quiet, simple, nothing like the Christmases Noah had imagined as a father. But sitting there with Elena, watching snow fall outside the window, he realized something important. This was enough. Different than what he'd planned, but enough. Thank you, he said softly. For what? For being here. For making this feel less like a loss and more like a different kind of gift. Elena wheeled closer, took his hand. That's what we do, right? We show up for each other. Yeah, that's what we do. They fell asleep on the couch together, Noah stretched out with Elena curled against his side, her wheelchair parked nearby. It wasn't conventional. It wasn't what anyone would put on a Christmas card. But it was theirs. When Noah picked up Lily the next day, she was full of stories about cookies and presents and time with her grandparents. She chattered the whole drive home, and Noah listened with a full heart. Did you have a good Christmas with Elena? Lily asked as they pulled into the driveway. I did. Different, but good. Different how? Quieter, just the two of us. We made dinner and exchanged presents and talked a lot. Lily considered this. Do you think Elena was lonely before? For Christmas? The question caught Noah off guard. I don't know. Maybe. Why? Because now she has us, and we have her, so nobody has to be lonely. Noah pulled her into a hug, overwhelmed by his daughter's capacity for empathy. You're right, kiddo. Nobody has to be lonely. Inside, they found Elena in the kitchen, making hot chocolate. You're still here! Lily ran to her, wrapping her arms around Elena's waist. Your dad said I could stay until you got home. I hope that's okay. It's perfect. Can you stay for dinner too? Elena looked at Noah, who nodded. I'd love to. That evening, the three of them decorated the Christmas tree together, something Noah had put off until Lily got home. Elena directed from her spot on the couch, critiquing ornament placement with mock seriousness, while Lily giggled and Noah pretended to be offended. No, Dad, Elena's right. That snowflake is too close to the other snowflake. They need space. Since when are you two a united front? Since always, Lily said matter-of-factly. We're a team. Noah caught Elena's eye across the room, saw her smile, and felt something click into place. They were a team. Not perfect, not without complications, but real. Later, after Lily was in bed, Noah and Elena sat together in the glow of the Christmas tree lights. This was a good day, Elena said. It was. Thank you for staying. Thank you for letting me be part of this. Part of your family. Noah turned to face her. You are part of this family. You have been for a while now. Even with all my complications? Especially with your complications. They're part of what makes you who you are. Elena laughed softly. You know what's funny? I spent so long thinking my wheelchair would keep me from having this. A partner, a family, a real life. And here you are, loving me, not in spite of it, but just along with everything else. That's how it should be. Not everyone sees it that way. Then everyone else is missing out. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the lights twinkle on the tree. Outside, snow had started falling again, covering the world in fresh white. Inside, warmth and acceptance and something that felt a lot like home. Noah thought about the past few months, the coffee shop meeting that had terrified him, the slow building of trust, the moments of doubt and fear and breakthrough. He thought about Elena's courage in letting him in, about Lily's easy acceptance, about his own journey from self-protection to openness. I love you, he said, the words coming easily now. I love you too, Elena replied just as easily. And in that moment, in that space they'd built together through honesty and effort and willingness to keep showing up, Noah understood something fundamental. Love wasn't about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone real, someone willing to do the hard work of being known and knowing in return. Someone who showed up, especially when it wasn't easy. He'd found that. They'd found that. And whatever challenges lay ahead, accessibility issues or scheduling conflicts or moments of doubt, they'd face them together, not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. The new year arrived with the kind of cold that made everything feel sharp and clear. Noah stood in his driveway on New Year's Day, watching his breath fog in the morning air, thinking about how different his life looked compared to 12 months ago. Last January, he'd been running on autopilot. Work, Lily, sleep, repeat. Now Elena's car was parked in his driveway more often than not. Her art supplies had claimed half his dining room, and Lily had started asking when Elena was going to officially move in. It was that last question that kept circling in Noah's mind as he loaded lumber into his truck. Moving in together felt like the natural next step, but it also felt enormous. It meant fully merging their lives, making permanent what had so far been flexible. It meant Lily would have another adult in the house daily, meant Noah would be responsible for someone else's happiness in ways that went beyond weekend visits. It meant being all in. "You're thinking too loud again," Elena said from the doorway. She'd stayed over the night before, and now she sat in her wheelchair wrapped in one of Noah's hoodies, coffee mug in hand. "Just planning the day's work." "Liar. You get a specific look when you're overthinking something. Your forehead does this wrinkly thing." Noah walked over, leaned down to kiss her. Lily said the same thing once. "She's a smart kid. What are you overthinking?" He could have deflected, changed the subject, but they'd made promises about honesty, about not shutting down when things felt big. "Us," he said simply. "The future. Where this is going." Elena took a sip of coffee, considering. "And where do you think it's going?" "Forward, I hope." "That's refreshingly vague." "I'm working on being more specific." Noah sat on the porch step beside her wheelchair. "Lily asked me yesterday when you're moving in." "What did you tell her?" "That we haven't talked about it yet." "But you're thinking about it." "I am." "Are you?" Elena set down her mug, pulled the hoodie tighter around herself. "I've been thinking about it since Christmas, about what it would mean to have this be home, not just a place I visit. And it terrifies me. Not because I don't want it, but because I do. Because once I move in, once we make this official, there's no pretending it's casual anymore. It becomes real in a way that makes it harder to protect myself if things fall apart. Things aren't going to fall apart. You can't promise that." "No," Noah admitted. "But I can promise I'm not planning for them to. I can promise I'm thinking long-term when I think about you, about us." Elena looked at him for a long moment, searching his face for something. "What does long-term look like to you?" "Honestly, I don't know all the details, but I know it includes you being here when Lily comes down for breakfast. It includes making space for your work, for your life, not just squeezing you into mine. It includes building something together instead of parallel." "That's a big shift." "It is, but I'm ready for it if you are." Elena was quiet, and Noah gave her space to think. A car drove past, its exhaust creating clouds in the cold air. Somewhere down the street, kids were having a snowball fight, their laughter carrying on the wind. Finally, Elena spoke. "I need to tell you something about what happened after my accident." Noah waited. "When I was in rehab learning to use the wheelchair, I made a decision. I decided that I'd never let anyone have the power to make me feel less than whole, that I'd build a life that was complete on its own, so I'd never need anyone else to make me feel valid." She paused. "And I did that. I built a good life, independent, fulfilling, safe. But it was also lonely, and somewhere along the way, safe started feeling like empty." Elena met his eyes. "You scare me because you make me want to be less safe. You make me want to risk the independence I fought so hard for, because being with you feels more important than protecting myself. I don't want you to give up your independence. I know you don't. That's what makes it possible to even consider." She took his hand. "If you were someone who needed to rescue me, who wanted me to be dependent, I'd run. But you're not. You just want to share a life with me. And that's different. So what do you want to do?" Elena smiled, small but genuine. "I want to say yes. I want to move in, build something real, stop holding back. But I need you to understand something first." "What?" "This isn't just about me moving into your house. It's about making this space ours, about accommodating both our lives, not just fitting mine into yours." "Of course." "I mean it, Noah. That means modifications. A ramp for the front entrance, maybe some changes to the bathroom. It means my stuff taking up space, my routine becoming part of the household rhythm. It means Lily seeing me on bad days when I'm frustrated or in pain or struggling with something. I know all of that. Do you? Because right now you see the good parts, The coffee dates and the art projects and the easy moments. But living together means seeing everything, the hard parts too. Noah squeezed her hand. Elena, I've been a single parent for 3 years. I know about hard parts. I know about bad days and frustration and struggling. That's not going to scare me off. Promise? Promise. She leaned forward, and he met her halfway, their foreheads touching in that gesture that had become uniquely theirs. Okay then, Elena whispered. Let's do this. Let's build something real. They spent the next 2 weeks planning. Noah researched contractors who specialized in accessibility modifications. Elena went through her apartment, deciding what to keep and what to let go. Lily made elaborate plans for how Elena's art studio should be arranged, drawing diagrams with careful detail. We should put the desk by the window so she gets good light, Lily explained, showing Noah her latest sketch. And the supplies should go on low shelves so she can reach everything easily. And maybe we could get one of those rolling carts for her pencils and stuff. When did you become an interior designer? I'm being thoughtful, Dad. Elena says good design is about thinking about how people actually use space. She's teaching you well. The modification started in early February. A contractor named Martinez came to install a ramp alongside the front steps, widen the doorways, and modify the main bathroom. Noah worked alongside him when he could, learning the specifics of universal design, understanding how small changes could make massive differences in daily life. Lily watched the construction with fascination, asking questions about angles and measurements and why certain things mattered. The slope can't be too steep, Martinez explained, or it becomes dangerous. And these grab bars need to be secured to studs, not just drywall, so they can hold weight properly. That makes sense, Lily said seriously. You have to think about safety, not just convenience. Exactly right, young lady. Elena came over one afternoon while the work was in progress, surveying the changes with an expression Noah couldn't quite read. What do you think? He asked. I think it's surreal. Good surreal, but surreal. I've never had someone make these kinds of changes for me before. Not even at your apartment. I made those changes myself, saved up, hired contractors, did what I could on my own. But having someone else think about my needs, plan for my comfort, that's new. Get used to it. She smiled. I'm trying. The moving day arrived in late February, unseasonably warm after weeks of cold. Elena had hired movers for the big furniture, but Noah and James helped with the smaller boxes, the personal items that made a space feel like home. This is a lot of art supplies, James said, carrying in the third box of pencils and paints. She's a professional illustrator, Noah reminded him. This is her livelihood. I'm just saying, I didn't know there were this many shades of blue. Elena wheeled past with a box balanced on her lap. There are actually 47 distinct shades of blue in that box. Each one serves a different purpose. James looked at Noah. She's perfect for you. You both care way too much about details. They set up Elena's studio in what had been Noah's rarely used office, a room with good natural light and enough space for her drafting table, supplies, and the organized chaos that came with creative work. Lily helped arrange everything, following Elena's directions with careful precision. Is this where you'll draw the pictures for books? Lily asked. It is, and maybe, if you're interested, I could teach you some techniques. Real illustration stuff, not just the basics. Lily's face lit up. Really? Like professional artist stuff? Professional artist stuff. If your dad says it's okay. They both looked at Noah, who was assembling a bookshelf in the corner. Of course it's okay. Just don't blame me when she decides to become an artist instead of a doctor or lawyer. Bold of you to assume she's going to be a doctor or lawyer, Elena said. She could be anything. She could, Noah agreed, looking at his daughter with fierce pride. She's got the talent and the drive. That evening, after everything was mostly unpacked and James had gone home, the three of them ordered pizza and sat in the living room surrounded by boxes. It didn't feel chaotic. It felt full, like the house had been waiting for this, for the noise and the presence and the life that came with 3 people instead of 2. This is weird, Lily announced, cheese stretching from her pizza slice. Weird how? Noah asked. Weird like different, but good different. Like everything's the same, but also totally new. That's actually a pretty accurate description, Elena said. Are you going to sleep in Dad's room now? Elena glanced at Noah, who nodded permission to answer honestly. I am. Is that okay with you? Lily thought about it while chewing. Yeah, it makes sense. Couples do that. Maya's parents sleep in the same room. So do Grandma and Grandpa before Grandpa died. We can talk about it more if you have questions, Noah offered. I don't think I have questions. I think it's just different and I need to get used to different. But it's good different. Lily took another bite of pizza. Plus now, I can come ask Elena art questions whenever I want. That's convenient. Glad my presence provides convenience, Elena said, laughing. They finished dinner and started the bedtime routine. Lily's bath, teeth brushing, the nightly negotiation about how many pages they'd read. But tonight, Elena was part of it. She read the second half of the chapter while Noah got Lily's clothes ready for school the next day, their roles blending naturally. Can Elena do bedtime sometimes? Lily asked as Noah tucked her in. If she wants to. I'd like that, Elena said from the doorway. If you'd like that too. I would. Good night, Elena. Good night, Lily. Noah kissed his daughter's forehead, turned off the light, and closed the door most of the way. In the hallway, he found Elena waiting, something soft in her expression. You okay? He asked quietly. Yeah, just processing. That felt really domestic. It was domestic. This is our life now. Our life, Elena repeated. I like the sound of that. They moved to the bedroom, their bedroom now, and got ready for bed with the awkward choreography of people still learning each other's routines. Elena needed the bathroom configured a certain way, needed space to transfer and maneuver. Noah learned to adjust, to think about accessibility not as an afterthought, but as a primary consideration. This is going to take some getting used to, Elena said as they settled into bed. What part? All of it, sharing space, having someone see me first thing in the morning, letting go of the control that comes with living alone. Noah turned to face her. We'll figure it out together, trial and error, communication. You make it sound simple. The concept is simple. The execution is probably going to be messy sometimes. Probably, Elena agreed. She was quiet for a moment, then, thank you. For what? For making space for me. Real space, not just physical, but emotional. For not trying to fix me or save me or turn me into some project. For just letting me be me in your life. That's the only way I'd want you here. They fell asleep like that, talking in the dark, learning the new geometry of shared space and shared life. The first few weeks brought adjustments. Mornings required coordination, who used the bathroom when, how to navigate the kitchen together during the rush to get Lily ready for school. Elena's work schedule was flexible but demanding, with deadlines that sometimes meant late nights and early mornings. Noah's construction projects were unpredictable, with weather delays and client changes throwing off carefully made plans. They fought, small arguments about dishes left in the sink and whose turn it was to handle laundry. Nothing major, but enough to remind them they were still learning each other's boundaries and expectations. I'm not used to someone else's mess, Elena admitted, after a particularly tense exchange about wet towels left on the bathroom floor. And I'm not used to someone calling me out on my mess, Noah replied. I've had 3 years of Lily being too young to care if I'm sloppy. So we both need to adjust. We do. They made a chore chart, divided responsibilities, found systems that worked for all three of them. Lily embraced the structure, taking pride in her assigned tasks and reminding the adults when they forgot theirs. Dad, it's your night to cook and you're late starting, she'd announce, hands on hips in a perfect imitation of Noah's own parenting stance. When did you become the household manager? Someone has to keep you organized. Spring arrived gradually, snow melting into mud, mud drying into green grass. Noah's business picked up with the better weather, and Elena landed a contract for a 3-book series that would keep her busy for months. They found their rhythm, working during the day, coming together in the evenings, building a life that accommodated all their needs and dreams. But the real test came in April, when Sarah called. Noah was at a job site when his phone rang, Sarah's name appearing on the screen for the first time in 8 months. His stomach dropped. Hello? Noah, hi, it's Sarah. I know. What's going on? Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I wanted to talk to you about something. About Lily. Noah's grip on the phone tightened. What about her? I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about my choices, about leaving, about missing so much of her life, and I think I want to be more involved. The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. More involved how? Noah asked carefully. Regular visits, maybe. Phone calls. I want to know my daughter, Noah. I want her to know me. After 3 years of barely showing up, you suddenly want to be involved? I know I haven't been consistent. I know I messed up, but I'm in a better place now, and I think I'm ready to be a parent. Noah closed his eyes, fighting the anger rising in his chest. You don't get to be ready when it's convenient for you. Lily has spent 3 years learning to live without you. 3 years of me explaining why mommy isn't here, why she doesn't call, why promises get broken. I know I hurt her. I hurt both of you, but I want to try to make it right. Making it right means being consistent, showing up, not just deciding you're ready and expecting everything to fall into place. I understand that. That's why I'm calling, to start the conversation, to figure out what's best for Lily. Noah wanted to say no, wanted to protect his daughter from more disappointment, more broken promises. But he also knew that keeping Sarah away entirely might hurt Lily more in the long run. I need to talk to Elena about this, he said finally. And to Lily, this isn't just about what you want or what I want. She gets a say in this too. Okay, that's fair. Can you call me back when you've had a chance to talk? Yeah, I'll call you. He hung up and stood there in the spring sunshine, feeling like the ground had shifted beneath him. That evening, after Lily was asleep, Noah told Elena about the call. She listened without interrupting, her expression thoughtful. What do you want to do, she asked when he finished. I want to tell her no. I want to protect Lily from getting hurt again. But that's not fair to Lily. She deserves the chance to have a relationship with her mother if that's what she wants. Elena reached for his hand. What does Lily want? I don't know. I haven't talked to her about it yet. I wanted to talk to you first. Why? Noah looked at her, really looked at her. Because you're part of this family now. Because decisions about Lily affect all of us. Because I want your input on something this important. Elena's eyes grew bright. That means a lot to me. It's the truth. You've been here. You've shown up. You get a voice in this. They talked for hours, weighing options and considerations. Elena pointed out things Noah hadn't thought of, how Lily might need both her mother and her father, how having more adults who cared about her could be a gift rather than a complication, how Noah's job was to guide Lily through this rather than decide for her. You're wise, Noah said eventually. I just have perspective you don't. I'm not hurt by Sarah's choices the way you are, so I can see it more clearly. The next day, Noah sat down with Lily after school. I need to talk to you about something important, he said. Your mom called yesterday. She wants to be more involved in your life, phone calls, visits, spending time together. Lily looked up from her homework, face carefully neutral. Why now? She says she's in a better place and ready to be a parent. What does that mean? I think it means she's had time to work on herself and wants to try to have a relationship with you. Lily was quiet, her pencil tapping against her notebook. Finally, she said, Do you want her to? This isn't about what I want. It's about what you want. But you must feel something about it. Noah took a breath. Honestly, I'm worried. Worried that she'll make promises and not keep them. Worried that you'll get hurt. But I also know that she's your mom, and you deserve the chance to know her if that's what you want. What does Elena think? Elena thinks we should let you decide, that you're old enough to have a say in this. Lily considered this, her young face serious beyond her years. Can I think about it? Of course. Take all the time you need. 3 days later, Lily came to Noah with her answer. I want to talk to Mom on the phone first, she said, before visits or anything, just to see if she actually means it this time. That's a really smart approach, Lil. Elena said I should start small and see what happens. Build up trust slowly instead of jumping in. Elena gave you good advice. I know, she's smart about people stuff. They set up a phone call for the following Sunday. Noah and Elena stayed in the room while Lily talked to Sarah, close enough to provide support, but far enough to give privacy. The conversation was stilted at first, awkward with the weight of years and absence, but gradually it found a rhythm. Sarah asked about school and friends. Lily answered with cautious honesty, and by the end of the call, both of them were laughing about something silly. "That was okay," Lily said when she hung up. "Not great, but okay." "How do you feel?" Noah asked. "Weird, nervous, but also kind of good. Like maybe she's actually trying this time." They agreed to weekly phone calls with the possibility of visits down the line if things went well. It wasn't perfect, and Noah still felt protective and worried, but watching Lily navigate this with maturity and self-awareness made him proud. That night, Elena found him on the back porch, staring at the stars. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just processing. This changes things." "It does, but not necessarily in a bad way. What if Sarah breaks her promises again? What if Lily gets hurt? Then we'll be here. We'll help her through it. That's what we do." Elena wheeled closer. "But Noah, you can't protect her from every possible hurt. Part of growing up is learning to take risks, even emotional ones." "I know, doesn't make it easier. Nothing about parenting is easy. You taught me that." Noah looked at her, grateful for her steady presence. "I'm glad you're here for this. I don't think I could navigate it alone." "You're not alone. Not anymore." The weeks that followed brought gradual shifts. Sarah called every Sunday, consistent for the first time in years. The conversations grew easier, more natural. Lily started mentioning things her mom had said, stories Sarah shared, small connections building between them. And through it all, Elena was there, not trying to replace Sarah, not competing for Lily's affection, just present and supportive and steady. She helped Lily process complex feelings, gave Noah perspective when his hurt and anger threatened to overwhelm him, and somehow made room in their family for one more complicated relationship. In May, Sarah asked about visiting in person. Lily agreed with conditions, a short visit in a public place, with Noah present. They met at a park, the same one where Noah and Elena had first walked together months ago. Noah watched from a bench while Lily and Sarah sat at a picnic table, talking and occasionally laughing. Elena sat beside him, her hand in his. "This is hard for you," she observed. "It is, but it's the right thing." "That doesn't make it easier." "No, but having you here does." When the visit ended, Lily hugged Sarah goodbye. A quick, still uncertain hug, but genuine. Sarah looked at Noah with tears in her eyes, mouthed, "Thank you," and left. "How was it?" Noah asked Lily as they walked back to the car. "Good. She's different than I remember, but in a good way, I think. She seems like she's actually trying." "Does that make you happy?" Lily thought about it. "I think so. It's weird, but good weird, like having an extra person who cares about me." That evening, the three of them, Noah, Elena, and Lily, sat together in the living room. Lily was drawing at the coffee table, Elena was sketching on her tablet, and Noah was reading. Normal, ordinary domesticity. "Dad?" Lily said without looking up from her drawing. "Yeah, sweetheart?" "I'm glad Elena lives here now, and I'm glad Mom is trying to be around more. It feels like our family is getting bigger instead of smaller." Noah felt his throat tighten. "I'm glad too." "Me three," Elena added softly. They sat in comfortable silence, three people who'd found each other through unexpected circumstances, who'd chosen to build something real despite all the complications and challenges. It wasn't the family any of them had planned on, but it was theirs. Summer arrived with heat and long daylight, bringing barbecues in the backyard and weekend trips to the lake, and lazy evenings on the porch. Elena's book series was going well, Lily's art skills were improving dramatically, and Noah's business was thriving. Sarah's visits became monthly events, still supervised but increasingly comfortable. One evening in late July, Noah and Elena sat on the back porch after Lily had gone to bed. The air was warm and thick with the smell of cut grass and blooming flowers. "I've been thinking," Elena said. "About? About this. Us. How far we've come in less than a year. It's been quite a year. It has. And I realized something today." Noah turned to look at her. "What's that?" "I'm not scared anymore. Of you leaving, of this falling apart, of letting myself be fully invested. I'm not scared because I finally believe it's real. It is real. I know. And that's new for me. that certainty, that trust. She took his hand. Thank you for being patient while I learned to believe in this. Thank you for being brave enough to try. They sat together as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. In the distance, they could hear neighborhood kids playing, their laughter carried on the evening breeze. What do you think happens next? Elena asked. For us, I mean. I don't know, Noah admitted, but I'm excited to find out. No plans? No carefully mapped future? I've learned that plans don't always work out the way you expect. Sometimes the best things happen when you stop trying to control everything and just let life unfold. Elena smiled. That's very wise. When did you get so wise? Around the time a smart, beautiful woman agreed to have coffee with me, despite being set up by the world's most obvious matchmaker. Marcus did give you fair warning that I was great. He did. I should probably thank him. Let's not go that far. His ego is big enough already. They laughed, and the sound felt like home, comfortable, genuine, full of shared understanding and inside jokes, and the intimacy that comes from really knowing someone. Inside, Noah could hear Lily moving around in her room, probably sneaking an extra chapter of her book before actually going to sleep. In a few minutes, he'd go check on her, kiss her goodnight again, remind her that tomorrow was a school day, even in summer session. But for now, he sat with Elena in the golden light of early evening, grateful for the unexpected path that had led him here. Grateful for the woman beside him who taught him that love didn't require perfection, just presence. Grateful for his daughter who'd accepted change with remarkable grace. Grateful for the messy, complicated, beautiful life they'd built together. I love you, he said, the words as natural as breathing now. I love you too, Elena replied, squeezing his hand. And in that moment, sitting on the porch of a house that had become a home, surrounded by the evidence of their shared life, Noah understood something fundamental about love and commitment and the courage it takes to build a life with another person. It wasn't about finding someone without complications. It wasn't about avoiding challenges or pretending difficulties didn't exist. It was about finding someone worth facing those complications with. Someone who made you want to be braver, kinder, more open. Someone who showed up, especially when it was hard. He'd found that in Elena. She'd found it in him. And together, they'd created space for Lily to grow, for Sarah to rebuild, for all of them to become more than they'd been alone. The future stretched out ahead of them, uncertain and full of possibilities. There would be challenges. There always were. Accessibility issues to navigate, parenting decisions to make, the ongoing work of maintaining and deepening their relationship. But Noah felt ready for it. Ready to face whatever came next with Elena beside him and Lily, depending on both of them. This was love. Not the fairy tale version that solved all problems with a kiss, but the real version that required work and communication and the willingness to keep choosing each other even when it was difficult, especially when it was difficult. The sky deepened from pink to purple to the dark blue of approaching night. Stars began to appear, tiny points of light in the vast darkness. Inside, Lily finally turned off her reading lamp. The neighborhood grew quiet as families settled in for the evening. Noah and Elena stayed on the porch a while longer, neither of them quite ready to end the moment. They talked about small things, Elena's upcoming deadline, Noah's next project, whether they should plant tomatoes or peppers in the garden next spring. Normal conversation between two people building a life together. And somewhere in the middle of discussing vegetable gardens, Noah realized this was exactly what he'd needed all along. Not someone to complete him or fix his life, but someone to share it with. Someone who brought her own completeness to the relationship and invited him to do the same. They'd built something together, Noah and Elena and Lily. Something real and messy and imperfect and absolutely worth fighting for. A family that looked different than any of them had imagined but felt more right than anything Noah had experienced before. As they finally went inside, turning off the porch light and checking the locks and moving through the familiar routines of bedtime, Noah felt a peace he hadn't known he was missing. The peace that comes from being exactly where you're supposed to be, with exactly the people you're meant to be with. He checked on Lily one last time. She was sleeping soundly, carrot tucked under her arm, a sketch of Elena's she'd been copying lying on her nightstand. He pulled the blanket up over her shoulders, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Sweet dreams, sweetheart." In their bedroom, Elena was already in bed, reading on her tablet. Noah changed and climbed in beside her, and she immediately set down the tablet and curled against him. "Good day," she said simply. "Very good day," he agreed. They fell asleep like that, tangled together, a testament to the fact that love wasn't about finding someone perfect, but about finding someone real. Someone willing to do the hard work of showing up, being honest, and choosing each other again and again. Outside, the stars continued their slow wheel across the sky. Inside, a family slept peacefully, bound together not by traditional definitions or societal expectations, but by something stronger, the choice to love each other through all the complications and challenges that came with being human. Noah's last thought before sleep claimed him was simple and profound. This is enough. This messy, complicated, beautiful life we've built, it's more than enough. It's everything. And in the morning, they'd wake up and do it all again. Because that's what love was. Not a destination, but a daily practice. Not perfection, but presence. Not rescuing or fixing, but showing up and choosing to stay. They'd found each other in the middle of ordinary lives, and together they'd created something extraordinary. Not because it was easy, but because it was real. And in a world that often felt chaotic and uncertain, that realness was the most valuable thing any of them could ask for. The end of the story, but the beginning of everything that mattered.